Hello, this is Brad. I am one of your consumer technology specialists here at Mid-Continent Public Library, and welcome to Exploring Culturegrams. Culturegrams is a great library geography resource that has information about the various countries of the world. It details information about the people who live there, different cultural traditions, regional climate, and other interesting facts for each country, including recipes. It also has facts for the Canadian provinces and each American state. Today, we will be looking at some of the great information and resources available to us on Culturegrams. Let's go ahead and get started. I am first going to navigate to a web browser. You could use any of these, but today I am going to be using Microsoft Edge. And then once I have opened my web browser, I will need to navigate to our Mid-Continent Public Library website. That is mymcpl.org. And then once you are on the website, click on the Research and Learning tab near the top. And from there, click on Homework Help for Kids. And then we will see Culturegrams near the top of this listing. And so we can go ahead and click on that. This tells us a little bit more information about Culturegrams. There are more than 200 countries that it has information about, as well as all 50 states. There is a kids edition, which has simplified reports for elementary students. I'm going to click Go to Culturegrams. At this point, it is going to ask me to enter my library card number, so make sure you have that handy. Just enter your card number into the box and click the blue Submit button. And then you will be taken to the Culturegrams website. And see, we have different categories here. We have the World Edition, which is all the countries of the world. We have the States Edition, which is just about the United States of America. Here we have the Canadian provinces. And then up here we see the Kids Edition. To get started, we are going to look at the World Edition. And now I see a map of all the continents of the world. I can click anywhere on the map, or I can click in the menu down below. I'm going to click on North America. And from here, we can click on one of the countries on the map, or if we're looking at one of these small countries, we could use the menu. But I'm going to click on Canada. And here we see information about our neighbor to the north, Canada. There's some quick did you know facts here. There's an interesting infographic right here, which has some basic information about Canada. To enlarge that, I simply click on it. And here we see some information about the average person in Canada. Income, age, schooling, how many siblings they have, life expectancy, where they live, where they go to church, and then the language that they speak. And then over here we have some maps. This shows us a basic map of Canada, but I also have a map drop-down. And I have some different options here. There's an outline map. This just gives a real basic outline of the country. And then we also have a simple map. This has all of the different provinces and then some important cities as well as territories of Canada. Simple political map there. And then we also have a physical map. This is going to have topography information. And then we have a political map. This is more detailed as far as the provinces and the cities and the different territories of Canada. If we scroll down, we have some different things here. If I click this official name button, it will tell me how to pronounce this country.
Canada.
And then over here, we have a button for the national anthem. And as we can see, I also have options to download those as MP3s if I should need to. If I scroll down, I can see the Canadian flag. I can print out an outline of that flag. And then here is some quick country data down here. It tells us the capital. This current time is interesting because it actually is up to date. If I refresh my web page here, it will actually update that time so I know exactly what time it is right now in Canada. We have information about the population, the square mileage, and other information about Canada. And if I want to go more in depth, there's all kinds of information over here. Under background, the first category is land and climate. This just tells us a little bit about the land and climate of Canada. We also have history. And we have population here under people, which tells us about the population of Canada. And then we have language, religion, general attitudes, and personal appearance as well. I can also use these buttons to skip between articles. If I just keep clicking, it'll just go down the list on the left-hand side. There's also some interesting information about customs and courtesies, such as how Canadians greet each other, different gestures, how they eat together, and how they visit each other. And then we have lifestyle information over here, information about family and housing, dating and marriage, life, diet, recreation, and all kinds of information specific to Canada. And then under society, we have information about their economy and education. And then if I want to print out this whole report, I can do so over here. If I click this button, it'll let me print out all of these different sections in one document. There's also this format as well, which has all of the information in one window, if I would prefer to just scroll instead of clicking through the different categories. Up here at the top, there's an option to have this article read to me, and I could also download an MP3 of that as well. I am now going to click the Return to Canada Home. This is that main page. There's also a translate option as well. I can translate English into any of these languages listed in this dropdown. And then over here on the right-hand menu, there's more information. There's a photo gallery for each country. This has photos specific to that country. We can take a look at the photo gallery of Canadian photos. Here we see some different photos of nature and different cultural events and people, all within Canada. I'm going to go back. There's also a video gallery as well. Then over here I click the video I want to watch. Let's take a look at this Northern Lights video. And I have the option to download this video as well. Let's go ahead and go back. I can do that by clicking Canada here from this menu up top. Besides photos and videos. There are some interviews they've done with different Canadians. And here they have different ages. They have a young boy, and they just ask him some questions about living in Canada. And they have interviews with other people as well. Going back to that main page, we can look at famous people from Canada. You might recognize some names here. There's Michael J. Fox, famous actor. Wayne Gretzky played hockey, and then Celine Dion. I'm going back to the Canada page. And then another really fun thing about Culturegrams is their recipes. They have recipes for every country. So here we see some different recipes specific to Canada. We have a goose and a salt cod chowder, some different soups. Here's a pudding, and then a maple sugar pie. So if you ever wanted to try some food specific to Canada, they have listed some recipes here. I'm going to go back. Another interesting tool is the Graphs and Tables tool. And what this does is it allows me to build my own graph or table, and I can compare some information of Canada to another country. So I go to Comparison Graphs. It will automatically have Canada selected. If I wanted to compare Canada to another country, I can scroll down until I find the country I want. Let's compare Canada to the United States. And then we can select up to 10 nations. Let's go ahead and find Mexico, just so we can compare North American countries. And then over here, we select what it is we want to compare. They have different categories. There's area and square mileage. There's information about the population and all kinds of information. I'm also going to select life expectancy for male and female, and then I will click Create Comparison Graph. This top chart is for square area. We can see Canada is the highest, United States is the second. Here's the population. Very interesting. They have the lowest population, even though they have the greatest square area. And then here is life expectancy of all the three countries for male and then female compared there. And if I wanted to, I could print out this information as well using this print button. Just a fun way to compare different countries. I'm going to exit this window. I can do a comparison table too. Instead of having the graph there, it will just list the information. We have a distance calculator within this tools area. The distance, this is going to go from each nation's capital, so it might not be the most accurate if you're truly trying to tell how far apart different countries are. For instance, if I put in the United States, Washington, D.C. is only about 500 miles from Ottawa, Canada. We also have the world time. This just tells us what time it is in Canada. We also have currency converter. This is actually a link. And then we would need to enter the currency of the different countries. There's also a converter available on your Microsoft calculator that you could use as well. We did a whole video about that if you want to check out the features of that. And then down here under teacher resources, there are some curriculum standards about Culturegrams And then we have the kids version up here. This just simplifies some information and puts it in a simpler format for elementary students. We see a lot of the same information. It's formatted a little differently. And then even within these categories over here, a lot of the information is the same. It might just be shortened or simplified. Here we have life as a kid. Just some different categories to make things more understandable for young learners. They won't go into as much detail as other parts of this. I'm going back to the main website page. Now we're going to look at the States Edition, which this is information specific to each U.S. state. Much like with the other map, we have a map of all the states. I could use this menu down here, or I can just click on a state on this map, and then I see information about that state. I clicked Colorado, so I'm seeing all kinds of information about Colorado. Just like with the country, I can read about the climate, I can read about the history, different state symbols. These are always kind of fun. Every state has a state bird. Theirs is the lark bunting, and we can actually click this little play button to hear what a lark bunting sounds like. And then just like with the countries, there are recipes here. Here we see a recipe for a Denver omelet and then beef stroganoff. And that is the States Edition, very similar to that of the world. There is also a Provinces Edition. This is for the different Canadian provinces. It has different regional information, facts, and recipes. And then next we're going to look at the Kids Edition. As we saw earlier, there is usually a link from each page to get to the Kids Edition. Or if I click here, this will just show me the Kids Edition right away. And then all this information will be simplified and geared more towards young learners. And then also here at the top, we have this menu. And this actually shows us all the different photos for all of the countries and states we have within Culturegrams. And then we also have all of the slideshows for each country and videos. So if you just wanted one of these resources, you could click through those. Here are the interviews they have for people that live in different countries. Famous people from all of the various countries, and then recipes. I'm interested what recipes are from Antarctica. Beef Wellington. And then jambalaya. And chili. I'm going to go back. And then there are also all of the countries' flags as well. And so you can get to this information several different ways. You can look by each country, or you can look by the type of information that you need. And this is Culturegrams. It's a really great resource for anyone wanting to learn about different countries, or just anyone wanting to try one of these fun recipes from a different culture or country. I encourage you to check this out and see what you can learn about all these different countries of the world. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to follow our MCPL 360 Facebook page. We premiere new videos every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. And if you missed the premiere on Facebook, you can watch all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our MCP Elmo YouTube channel to watch all of our videos. This has been Brad. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.